Hello, 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 hello. My name is Luke.
My name's Tony.
And this is the Anointed Chaos Podcast. Today we will be getting into a series. Yes, I said that. Series on temptations and trials and tribulations. Yeah. We're going to dive deep in it, but we're going to make a little series, a little playlist out of it.
Yeah, most definitely.
So today, our very first one is...
Lust.
Yeah. I actually was doing some research. I actually got a Bible verse.
Yeah, a little Bible verse.
So Jesus warned us about the dangers of lust in Matthew 5:28, saying, "But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart." What do you think about that?
I used to hear that verse as a kid all the time.
When I was
I think it was like for my mom to scare me.
Oh.
So I wouldn't like look at no girls.
Don't look at girls.
It didn't work.
Honestly, when I was doing the research on it, I there was like 3 verses, and I just kept rereading that one, and for some reason it just stuck out to me. So that's why I chose that one, and we'll dive deep into that about just our stories on it, and I don't know if you want me to go first or you want to go first.
I hate talking about this, but yeah, I'll go first. In the sense of the lust, and we're going to be going over lust this episode. So my temptation growing up, and even just recently until I got married, was I had an issue with sex. So in the grand scheme of everything growing up, I didn't realize that stemming from me longing to want attention basically caused this ripple effect in my life to where I was on a rampage. So I started having sex, and as I got older and older, I didn't realize how much it hurt me in the sense of like my life and my soul and my walk with Jesus, because I wanted attention, and that's all I wanted. So when I got it from this specific, let's just say, woman, and it got, I'm not going to say boring, but like to a point where her attention wasn't enough, and then I would go on to the next woman, then the next woman, and even 3 of them at the same time, it still wasn't voiding that hole that I needed. And in the end of the day, I think I realized just recently Jesus is the only one that can fill that void, that hole that I needed. And I still struggle with the sense of like longing and wanting to be accepted in anything that I do. So I don't know if that's lust, but that's just in the aspect of it. That was the stem root that ended into lust.
I get that, man. I think for me, my first scenario of lust, I remember scared me. I remember the day. I remember everything. I was with a girl, and I was at my dad's house watching a movie, and as a teenager, I was 16. I just one thing led to another, and pretty much I remember just at that moment I was like, it felt good. I thought I was cool, it's done. I finally did it. But for me, it tore me apart, because I remember from that, I remember that very next, I think it was like a week later or 2 weeks later, I was like, nothing happened from it, I'm playing a baseball game in high school, and I see my mom pull up. And my mom's always usually loud. Everybody knows my parents are pretty loud at sports. And the first thing I hear from her is, "You need to get out of here. We need to go right now." And I'm just like, what the heck happened? First thing I hear is they think she's pregnant. And I got scared. I was terrified. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm only 16 years old, sophomore in high school. Just trying to figure out everything going on with just, my high school life. And when they said no, I was like, oh, I'm good. So I kept doing it. And for me, like you kind of were saying, you move on from one to the next, you're trying to get that same attention, fill that, and then I think for me, I started to just start realizing like that wasn't it. I never needed that. I even left my own family for that.
Yeah.
So, and that was probably one of the worst times of my life. I lost relationships and connections with like my mom, my stepdad. A lot of people just stopped talking to me because I upped and moved for that specific reason.
Yeah.
I upped and moved, and it broke me, and it mentally just every day, slowly but surely, I started to see like, this isn't the life I want.
Yeah.
This isn't what I want. Like I literally destroyed my whole life over lust of a female, over what she could do for me.
Yeah.
And
but I think that feeling is a feeling that God, like I was saying about last week, the morals that you deserve better, and God has a calling in your life that you need to fulfill, and it's still not fulfilled.
And I think even to this day, like I think I wouldn't say I still struggle with it, but I would say it's still in the back of my mind some of these days where I'm like, man, like I can lust towards a woman, like just like that Bible verse says, even if you look at that person and you already in your heart, like that's why it really got to me. And it's just like, for me, I mean, you could just be walking in a mall and see. I'm a single dude. I could see a beautiful woman and be like, man, she's beautiful. But again, like that, like just what that verse says, just in that thought, I'm already lusting over her.
But in the sense of thinking she's beautiful is not lusting. It's
But that's not.
Yeah.
But as a guy, I'm just saying it in a nicer way. Like, oh, she's beautiful. Meanwhile, what I said is, oh, she fun.
Yeah.
Like,
I get what you're saying.
So I think for me that's like my story on that.
And to add to mine, it was just more of the sense of like that emptiness. And as I got older, this was years and years in the making. As I got older, my family just was like, Tony, stop doing this, stop doing that. And it's like, no, I'm fine. Like I'm fine. I don't need help.
Fine.
Yeah, I don't need anything. I'm good. And then they would meet a girl here, they would meet a girl there, they would meet this person and that person, and not realizing in the grand scheme of life that one, it's gonna affect everybody. It's
it
like
always
a
does.
A trickle.
Oof, I know that.
Yeah, and
firsthand.
And again, obviously Tyler Perry is not Christian, or I don't think he's Christian. I'm not 100% sure.
I think Tyler Perry is Christian, by the way.
He is? Oh, yeah. Okay. And he has this thing in one of his movies. It's the 80-20 rule. And that your woman is 80%, but that one woman is 20%. And if your will is not strong enough, the 20% is going to be more attracted to you
than the
80%.
Yeah.
But how I think about it now that I'm older, I'm married, I got my family, is more of the sense of put 80% towards God and 20% towards everything else, and it's going to fall into place.
Amen on that one.
Yeah.
Amen on that one.
Okay, so question for you guys. Since we're talking about sexual temptations and lust, how do you think social media affects that?
Woo. It affects it way more now that there's social media involved.
It enhanced it.
Yeah.
It enhanced it since Facebook, since
Snapchat, Instagram. Honestly, all social media is nowadays.
The emojis, the likes.
There's pictures, there's all that stuff, so it's just making it...
You guys are funny. I'm not talking about in general. I'm talking about in your guys' life.
Oh, in my life? In my life, I used to have a clothing brand that was very promiscuous. And the brand was thongs and crop tops the whole time. That was the attire. That was the myth attire. And at the time, I thought it was like, no big. And the brand was very promiscuous, and thongs and crops were the main attire for the myth brand. And for me, it was my way of, and at the time I didn't realize it, and my wife, now we changed our brand, but at the time I didn't realize that was my way of also reaching attention. Like, oh, okay, you guys can come here and you guys can wear this, but then I'm gonna post your guys' picture. And at the time it was like no big deal, like we were helping out each other. But in the long scheme of things, I don't think God, how should I put it, like blessed the brand to where it was selling off the shelves, like they would say. So in my aspects, that's how Instagram has affected me negatively.
I feel it. Instagram, man, Facebook, all that stuff has messed with me, just with anything, man. I'm a very I could talk to anybody. I'm a people person, but I've always been nice.
Yeah.
Right? I could always talk to anybody.
Charismatic.
Now the thing is I could talk to people and then people will assume something is bad. And then I feel bad about it and I'm just like, I just think with social media, you can say something, but they don't really know how you're saying it. So it could come off as like flirtatious, it could come off as rude, it could come off as a whole bunch of different ways. But I think when a guy is talking to a girl on social media, it is so it just makes it so bad because you can literally say one word wrong and it can just come off as
in general, like they've made skits after skits off of Instagram, TikTok of men hearting or liking a post and their woman having a cow about it. And having both sides. I've heard numerous I'm gonna say podcasts where I've heard both sides where they've explained their story, and it makes sense in the sense of if you're in a committed relationship, you probably shouldn't it
makes sense,
like it.
I think it depends. I think if it's a post about a friend or a woman, where she's taking her kid out for lunch and she's having a good time, or they're at Disneyland, or, something like that, then I think it's completely different. But if you're liking a girl in a thong in front of a lowrider, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it makes sense. Yeah, it for sure makes sense in that sense because there's always a post that can be just a family post or something that's just, but then there's those.
But let's be realistic. The girl that posts in front of the picture in a thong in front of the lowrider, all her pictures on Instagram are gonna be
of that
genre,
same stature.
So then at that point, why follow her if you're in a committed relationship?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, it's one of those.
It's a choice. It's a choice. You choose to. So in that aspect of social media, you choose who you follow, and you choose who follows you.
Yeah.
So that is another temptation where you fall into temptations of
most definitely.
Certain things that you like. For your example, Tony, with the clothing brand and stuff. Yeah, you have a whole bunch of people in your following that post half naked model IG, whatever they call themselves, pictures. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, I like some of those models, that used to be on Myth or whatever. But at the same time, trying to rebrand, as a Christian or having a Christian podcast, yeah, some people might, look at us or you in a certain way because you still have that background, that true. Following.
Yeah. It's true.
Same for Lucas. I mean,
same for me.
Anyone, really.
I probably for sure still have people on there that shouldn't be on there. But with that being said, everybody can change. I've seen the worst of people.
It's your choice if you want to. Yeah, if you scroll through it. Mm-hmm. Scroll through it. Because in the end of the day, when you're a Christian brand, you want to reach as much as you want to. Like, as a broader span than a close band where you're only following Christians and only Christians can see the brand, it's not going to benefit the brand. Jesus was hanging around with prostitutes, but he didn't associate. He associated with them. He didn't live the lifestyle of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get that. I get what you're saying.
But when it comes to temptation, that line gets crossed pretty oftenly.
Yeah, in a sense of, but like you said,
if somebody's dangling their booty at you, then of course you're going to look at it. Does that make sense? Even at the mall, like you mentioned earlier. But
it's your choice if you want to keep continuing or scrolling through it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You could go anywhere.
And somebody,
and somebody can be dressed
and it's in your face.
Provocative. It could be in your
most
face.
Definitely, yeah.
It's just how
But you can't stop that at that point.
No, of course. No, I think on the social media though as well. You can stop that. You could scroll past that, or in the long run, like you're saying, you can just delete them.
Yeah, most definitely.
So I totally understand that the question that presents itself. It's totally easy to see it both ways.
Yeah.
Delete them, keep them. There's
scroll through it.
Yeah, there's a lot of goods and there's a lot of bads, but there could be some goods in it, like you were saying. You don't want to
reaching the lust.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
reaching people that may,
Yeah, but in the sense of the lust, like we're on the subject of lust. Yeah, most definitely. It's like you said, that thin line that's very easy to cross.
Yeah, most definitely. Hands down.
Yeah. But again, the devil uses social media as his platform, and we see that daily.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that people are on constantly, internet, social media, it's the
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah. People believe anything that's on the internet.
Nowadays, yeah.
I think even today at church, the pastor was talking, and he had mentioned like how social media started, or how what is his name? The Facebook guy?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Started Facebook, and even the start of that was started on lust.
Poke. Yeah. Pass.
Yeah, it was Smash or Pass.
Mm.
Yeah. And the college that he was at shut it down.
Smart.
Okay, so next question. This is a good one. Are you dads prepared to answer this question? So, when it comes to sexual temptation, at least for Tony, you have both a 13-year-old and a 12-year-old. I mean, Lukey, your little one, is pretty young. She's not even in kindergarten yet. But you both have girls. You're both girl dads. So do you look back at some of the stuff you've done, or have you ever heard of that saying, like, treat women or treat, people how you want the man who's going to be in your daughter's future life to treat her? Like, do you think that your child could learn that it's okay to do some of these or accept some of these infidelities or lustful actions because it's in your guys' past?
Dang, that guy does a lot of questions.
I'm gonna answer it as a religious aspect, and no, I feel like every person, like you were saying, it's pro-choice in life. So my daughter that's 13 and my daughter that's 12, they're gonna learn their way of life, the way that they want to guide themselves through life.
Mm-hmm.
If I was around them, so backstory, I haven't been in their lives this whole time. I'm starting to come back in their lives. I'm in their lives now full time. But if I was the whole time and then they were seeing it left and right, then yes, I would agree to that. But in this aspect, I feel like, what do they call it? Generational curses. Mm-hmm. I feel like God can break that generational curse in the aspect of, yeah, my dad did this, but I'm going to learn from this. And I'm not going to do it this way.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
In the aspect of, like, let's say I didn't, but let's just say I beat my daughter's mom all the time and she saw it. And then she's going to think that that's okay.
That's how, yeah. No.
But in that generational curse, she can herself break that and raise herself different and her kids different too.
I think it's part of your job, though, to let
Teach
her
her.
know your wrongs
Yeah.
and that you've learned from them.
Oh yeah,
and
most
move
definitely.
forward.
Yeah,
Now I'm gonna, since you went the religious route, I'm gonna go the regular.
but I don't
first.
think you have to explain it. I think you living right will explain it in that sense. But maybe. So you were gonna explain the non-religious aspect of it.
Yeah, so I get that, you know, you always want to tell people about like stuff in your past, you want to tell your kids and stuff, but also everybody's going to make their mistakes. I think, like you were saying, you know, you want to be the dad and let them know like, hey, you know, I made the mistakes. You know, some guys out there are going to be like this, some guys out there are going to be like this. No matter what we do with our kids, I think they're still gonna make their own mistakes, and they're just gonna have to learn.
Like not being in the aspect of like, oh, that's a bad aspect, and you shouldn't think that way. But they're gonna get their hearts broken.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like they're gonna go through it all.
Yeah, and they're gonna sleep with the guy that ends up not wanting them either. So it's the way of, do we want that for them? Of course not.
No, most definitely.
But it's also the aspect of learning. And if they learned right, and
those things may not happen.
Yes.
No, I 100% agree with you. If you can always say something to your children, whether it be boy, girl. You could talk to them about any situation, every situation. But when it comes down to it, you never know what can happen.
Yeah.
Realistically, we're not going to be there more than likely, or they're going to be trying to do it. You know, you never know. I mean, as a parent, you really never know. I mean, my parents didn't know.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. You just hope for the best.
No, but our parents definitely sat us down and told us right from wrong and raised
most
us a
definitely.
specific way.
And in my household, my mom was like, not scared of it. It was just like, nope, don't talk about sex in this household. Like, don't bring it up. Don't talk about it. You learn it on your own time. Don't bring it up in a family conversation.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, most definitely, we for sure had family conversations about the situations.
The only time we had, when I lived with my aunt, then we started having, she was very open with her daughters and stuff. There was a bowl that was full of condoms right at the door.
We never had that. I can tell you that. We for sure. My mom, no.
But what I'm saying is every household's different. Like my mom, no, don't have sex. And then this aunt which is their sister.
If you're going to do it, be protective.
Yes.
Be safe.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I get it. I mean, yeah,
her thinking was, it's going to happen. You guys are going to have sex. You guys are you guys are getting older. Here's a
you just be safe about it.
Yeah.
Which is good, but in like, you know,
a religious aspect.
No, we don't want that.
No.
We want them to
wait till marriage.
until they're married and save that for that person.
Yeah, but that's what I was getting
person.
at. If so, like my cousin Cassandra, she just got married, and both of them waited till they got married. And when you meet a godly man, you're gonna know, and I'm hoping my daughters will know.
So in conclusion, for sure, we gotta be dads and just try to like we were saying earlier. We want to make sure to tell the kids and like hope that, you know, they're safe with everything, and then that they can stay until marriage and they find that right person, just like you were saying with your cousin. They find that right man, or for our sons, they find that right woman, you know.
Yeah.
That doesn't cause temptations for him, or that he doesn't lust after in the way that leads them to do those bad decisions.
Or maybe they both lust after each other, but they keep each other accountable.
That works too.
Things like that. Like, obviously things like that's going to happen.
Let's just hold each other accountable.
Hold each other accountable is what I'm saying. Like, as long as we teach them to hold each other accountable and to be in their word, or whatever the case may be, to be strong in their beliefs.
But yeah, in the aspect of conclusion, for the lust aspect of it, it was probably for me growing up and my hardest trial that I had to overcome was the sex and the acceptance. And so this one hit home for me as being the first one. And I wanted it to be the first one because for me, that's what I struggled growing up. And
most definitely.
even still recently, before my wife, it was the sex. And yeah.
And like we said, we're trying to be transparent with you guys. We're going to tell you stuff that you may have never heard of
Or
before.
that I don't want to talk
Or
about.
that we don't want to talk about. So on that, the next part of this temptation series is going to be on greed. That one's going to be another good one. This series is going to be good all the way until we finish. Each episode, we're going to be breaking out stories that, maybe even our parents may not have even heard before, or our closest friends, or somebody, So stay with us. If you do have any questions or thoughts on anything that we've said, let us know. Leave a comment, like, share, follow, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell everybody. But yeah, for sure, our next series is going to be on greed. I am Luke.
I am Tony.
And this is the Anointed Chaos Podcast. And